This is the story of a journey by two brothers, two princes, William and Harry, and their shared passion for the land across which they were travelling.
I adore Africa because it's so different. I like getting away from the cities, from the busyness of London and places like that. I like being anonymous in Africa. I like the wildness of it all.
My heart's in Africa, as well as obviously back home. It's just a very special place, not only because of the wildlife, but the people are just so friendly over here.
They'd come to Africa to pursue projects which are close to their hearts. Their style was informal, their commitment complete. It stirred memories of their mother.
I've always hoped that I would always make my mother and father proud, and obviously my mother's not around, so yeah, I'd like to think that that she'd be proud of what both William and I do.
It's winter in southern Africa at the moment, when the dawns are cold and misty, and the landscape, which can conjure so many moods, is resting. This is the Africa of wild places and remote locations, to which members of the British royal family have been coming for generations.
I welcome the opportunity to speak to all the peoples of the British Commonwealth and Empire, wherever they live.
It was while she was in South Africa in 1947 that the then Princess Elizabeth made her declaration that she would devote her entire life to the service of her people. And it was in East Africa, in Kenya, in February 1952, that she heard of the death of her father and that she was now Queen. And yet, over the nearly 60 years of her reign, the royal family's relationship with Africa has changed. The monarchy no longer stands at the head of an empire. The royals come to Africa now, not as rulers, but as friends. That was certainly the approach of William and Harry's mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. She made several trips to Africa. She made a pioneering visit to meet victims of leprosy. She'd also done much to combat the many taboos surrounding AIDS, HIV, and, most notably, she'd supported the International Red Cross campaign against landmines. These were visits which in many ways defined her approach to the causes she supported. They were informal, but very much hands-on. Diana made her last visit to Africa, campaigning about landmines, a short time before her tragic death. Now, more than a decade after they lost their mother, Diana's two sons, William and Harry, have come to southern Africa together to try to make a contribution of their own.
Coming across.
The visit began in Botswana, at the Mokolodi Nature Reserve, where the brothers were welcomed to Africa. The themes William has embraced in Africa are those of conservation and the environment. One of the first patronages he accepted was that of the Tusk Trust, a British charity which for the past 20 years has been supporting a range of projects in Africa to both protect wildlife and assist local communities. Here in Mokolodi, the white rhino offers an example of how painstaking work has brought a species back from the brink. The rhino had almost disappeared a few years ago as a result of poaching. Now they've been reintroduced, and according to the park's manager, Neil Whitson, they're settled and safe.
They are used to certain of us. We work on the park very closely with them. As you can see, they're comfortable when they hear my voice or my whistle. So they're just having a drink now. In the background is the dominant bull there. He's just one that one has to watch a little bit. He's still protective over his girls here, or one of his girls there.
What the Tusk Trust has done, he explained, was to encourage local communities to respect the wildlife.
Certainly, Tusk Trust helps us to firstly and foremost achieve our main goals and objectives, and that's to reach the children of Botswana. Because we firmly believe, that we have not inherited this land or these animals in this ground. We're borrowing them from our children. And if we do not prepare those children properly, and we do not educate them and give them the fair chance to know exactly what these animals and this lovely bush is worth, then there's no future for wildlife in Botswana, and there's no future for this lovely, as you can see, this site to happen.
For William and Harry, their first public encounter with Africa's wildlife wasn't with a rhinoceros, it was, rather to Harry's dismay, with a python. Snakes, it seems, are rather as journalists are to some members of the royal family, to be treated with care and kept at a distance. This, though, was a moment which couldn't be avoided. William and Harry had one of those heads or tails discussions, and Harry ended up with what he really didn't want, the head of an African rock python a few inches from his face. But the snake was charmed by the second and third in line to the British throne. The African adventure, which they've spent the last few months planning, emerged unscathed. It clearly does mean a lot to both of them, not just to be here in a part of the world that they both know and love, pursuing projects which are important to them. What matters on this particular visit is that they're doing it together. From the snake pit to the big cat cage, William and Harry were taken for a face-to-face meeting with two fully grown cheetahs. These elegant creatures too have been threatened, and the princes heard how the Tusk Trust has been working with the nature reserve to explain how humans and predators can coexist and why it's important to the ecosystem to conserve creatures such as these.
This time, instead of a non-specific protector, we've got massive...
Increasingly, science is playing a vital role in conservation, and William was taken to a laboratory to see another groundbreaking project to protect large predators like lions and leopards by better understanding their behaviour and communication systems. Inevitably, visits like these are fleeting, but as William explained, he hoped it would help to focus attention on the need for local communities to live in harmony with the wildlife.
Well, I hope in Botswana it's raised awareness of the problems in Botswana to do with the wildlife and the human conflict. Obviously, Tusk Trust is one of those charities that I am very proud to back, that has recognised these issues and hopes to tackle them. And I hope that it's left people with a feeling that there are people around the world who do care about many of the issues they care about. And in Botswana, I believe this is a particularly big issue. It happens to go all around Africa, but in this case, Tusk Trust has highlighted it in Botswana, so that's why we're there.
Botswana had presented Africa at its most benign and alluring, from the Mokolodi Nature Reserve to the Okavango Delta in the north, another vast area of natural beauty where the balance between man and nature is being protected. But it was time to move on.